My mind's telling me that my body's telling me yes. Oh no. Very full. Can you even see the lawn? I don't know. I don't care. I need to go. Okay, bye-bye.
Aaron kavetteni.
The boys. Shane, Miguel, Richard, Michael.
And the boys? Hey, why don't you talk with them? കുടിയൊന്ന് കൊണ്ടോ? എന്നിട്ട് ഞാൻ ഫോൺ പോയി on the birthday and നീ കൊണ്ടുപോയിട്ടില്ലാട്ടോ. No. The birthday time, good time now. You feel like doing something good. But you can't talk to them. I feel bad. Oh,
I didn't realize it's so cold.
thanks.
Perfect.
ഭാവിയിലേക്ക് സ്റ്റോപ്പ് பண்ணிட்டீங்களோ?
Yeah, but it's live streaming.
அப்ப என்னன்னு கதைப்பீங்க?
கதைக்கல, சும்மா பார்க்குறேன்.
இது கிராக்கோ. இந்த போனவங்க ஏதோ வாங்கினீங்களோ கொஞ்சம் கிராக்.
Oh, it's cold.
பண்ணுது அந்த கம்ப்யூட்டர் அதை இழுக்க வேண்டாம் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸுக்கு காட்டுறா அப்படி
Run down, downstairs. Yeah, only there's 61. No. Spend a lot of time renovating my fridge, now finished.
So you go to France on a holiday, see a place and think, oh, so we'll buy that.
And we travelled around France for 3-4 months, and then saw this house.
Whereabouts?
It's in Normandy.
Right. So bit by bit, every summer, you've done a bit.
New roof, and
Yeah. Good for you. All right, if you were to get some money today, what would you do?
I'd like to go and see the monks that have the tigers in Thailand.
You like tigers?
Oh, I love tigers. I've been bitten by one. It was only the size of the German Shepherd.
You sure you weren't mixing it up with the German Shepherd?
And I've got the brochures with me if you'd like to chance it. You know, they thought £40 could go over as well.
Yeah. Anyway, Marge, are you ready?
I am.
Let's get yourself off to the tigers. What's your husband's name? Trevor. Right. Trev. You like tigers? You better take that kilt off. Okay, Marge, good luck. The time starts now. Lindsay Davenport commentates for the BBC on what sport?
Cricket.
Tennis. Conan the Republican is a nickname for which Austrian-born former politician? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Palace of Versailles Gallery de Glace is known in English as what? Hall of Mirrors. What Do You Mean was the first UK number one for which Canadian pop star? Justin Bieber. Edward the Black Prince was buried in Rockington in Kent's Church. Canterbury Cathedral. Ellie and Carl are childhood sweethearts in what 2009 Pixar animated film? What online retailer runs the Kindle Scrapbook publishing program?
Smith.
Amazon. In a famous novel by George Eliot, the Tullens lived in what type of building?
Cave.
Mill. The non-technical name for the lacrimal canal is the tear what? Tear would be duct. Marge. No questions answered correctly, therefore not a lot of money. However, it still goes to the table, still play, get back to the final with trailing strategy. You ready?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, Marge, time to place the chaser. Good for you. All right, nothing scored in the category, so there it is on the table. If you wish to take a step closer, the home chaser will offer you.
Consider this minus
Minus a grand. If you wish to take a step closer to the chaser, he will offer you £1,000. Is that it? Why offer 1,000? This is 1,000. That is tight. Okay, yes, shocker by the way. All right, shocker by the way.
I don't know, you back here. You can spend a lot. Feel like taking a this. Still got 5,000.
Thank you, Trevor. Okay. Liverpool. Marsh Liverpool. Might have none of that. How you love that? No.
I'll go with the zero.
Game zero. Good for you. Game zero is Chaser. Let's do this. March for £0. Chases off. Good luck. Here comes your first question. In physics, Gay Sachs' law is concerned with what state of matter? A. Gas. B. Liquid. C. Solid. Big answer. You put gas. You. Correct answer is. It is gas though, step close to home, well done. Chase that as well. Also goes with gas. Next question. Who was described by Duke of Wellington as the Grand Disturber of Europe? A. Bismarck. B. Napoleon. C. Metternich. answer is. Yeah, goes right to Foley. Step closer home. Chase's foot. Also goes for the Foley.
They had organised the Congress at Vienna to try and settle post-war Europe, and Bethany, the Austrian prince, was the chairman at that time.
Thank you. Here's the next question. How many tiers of benches on each side of the housing company? 8, 3, 5, 6, 7. Input. 5. That's not right. Front bench. Front bench was it? 1. Correct answer is. Goes on so much, 5 makes a big line, 2 for 1.
Which came back to that house from Bill decided to build a Royal Palace. And the palace was to cover 100 staircases, 1,000 rooms, 3 miles of
Chelsea in Department T, C, Afternoon tea.
It's okay, but that sounds
Sounds lovely. I agree. Correct answer is. Chop suey, stay where you are. Chase has got it. Coach Roll, afternoon tea, game stays here.
Top C, American
Business. Yeah, correct answer is. Goes like a business, that's at home. Goes also with business, and they speed behind. Get this right, the 2 days, £1,000. So you're playing very, very well. Here's a question. In which of these sports did the USA win the most medals at London in 2012? A. Athletics. B. Rowing. C. Swimming. You put swimming. Yeah. Well, the lads are rowing. See you after the break. If you've got what it takes to be a chaser, you think you can demolish the ducks right ahead, why not apply to be on the show? Go to itv.com/be on TV. Come and have a go. You know you're clever enough. Chase is on.
numbers dropped for the first time since the Delta outbreak to 53. Still, Auckland will stay in level 4 while the rest of the country drops to 3. What about those people in Northland? Hurricane Ida slams into Louisiana, causing widespread damage and cutting power to New Orleans. We're live to the US for the latest. And I'm Stephen Sharp tracking the history of Delta.
Yes, Wendy, it's been unleashed on the country. But what makes Delta so tough? And is there another variant just around the corner?
Plus, the secrets to stopping your bubble mates from driving you bonkers. It's Stephen Sharp. After One News at 6.
50. 3. 37. Ha! Sweet! Keno, the only game you can win, even when none of your numbers are drawn. Next draw at 6 PM, so play now in store or at mylotto.co.nz.
Do you love the feeling of the outdoors on those warm summer nights? Can't wait to get out and do those fun-filled activities? Introducing the T-Mo Instant Indoor-Outdoor Heater. It's designed to be the fastest, warmest heater you'll ever own. Standard outdoor heaters can take forever to warm up and could cost you a fortune in gas, but not the T-Mo heater. The secret is the T-Mo heater's carbon fiber bulk technology. It produces radiant heat rays that heat you directly. This standard outdoor gas heater costs around $3.50 per hour run, while the energy-efficient T-Mo Instant Heater only costs around 45 cents per hour to run. That's a saving of over $3.05 per hour, and it never runs out of gas at the wrong time. With just normal use, it can pay for itself in just 3 months. Plus, it's 100% weatherproof, so it's not affected by rain or wind. In a standardized wind test with a 15 kilometers an hour breeze, the T-Mo heater measures a full 10 degrees warmer than the outdoor gas heater. Not only can you make your outdoor summers last longer, but when it gets really cold, you can take it indoors to create summer in your bedroom or your bathroom. T-Mo heater is an affordable and efficient way to heat your entire home with its built-in motion sensors that automatically shut off when you leave one room and turn on when you enter another, so you don't waste heat and money in rooms you're not using. Similar Italian design heaters are expensive, but here today, you won't pay anything like that. Call now and we'll upgrade you from the 1500 watt to the 2000 watt outdoor event pro. But wait, call right now and you'll get a second T-Mo Instant Heater absolutely free. That's buy one, get one free. Plus, you'll also get the multi-directional stand, a $199 value free. With our 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose. So call now on 0800 008 009. That's 0800 008 009. This is a TV-only offer, so call now.
New Healthberries Gummies. They're a healthy dose of fun. Multis and vitamin C. Now available for kids of all ages. From Healthberries, a little help for everybody.
I wish we were more settled.
I thought you liked being spontaneous.
Good, but not unpredictable, and I'm the one they planned for. It's always, where are you? What are you wearing? Give me $400.
Open. Give you $400. She urge for revenge. She's so strong.
Open his door. Edgeworth, the final season, starts Tuesday on 2. A Death at Sea.
Did he fall or was he pushed? If you hit your head, you're dead.
That's making waves.
What happened to him was an awful accident.
He didn't have enemies.
You lied to me.
New My Life is Murder, tonight 8:30 on 1.
Welcome back. Marge and Trevor have made it through to the final chase. There's £6,000 in the prize fund, $3,000 each. Trevor, what will you do with yours?
Oh, that's a Lambretta 250.
Yeah, will that get you one?
It would get me a rough one.
Okay. Marge?
Tigers in Thailand.
Perfect. During the break, you had 2 sets of questions to choose from. For the final chase, set A or set B, and you have selected set A. Set A, thank you very much. Of course, set B then goes to our chaser, Sean Wallace. 2 of you through to the final. That means you get a 2-step head start to chase. There it is. I wish you well. Marge and Trevor, good luck. Let's set a big target. Your time starts now. Pork scratchings come from the rind of what animal?
Pig.
Correct. Who led Labour to a general election victory in 1997?
Claire.
Correct. Leslie Caron played which Parisian girl in the 1958 film?
Gigi.
Correct. What Irish sport uses a ball called a slitter?
Trevor.
Hurling.
Correct. UNICEF was created to help children after which World War?
Trevor.
Second World War.
Correct. What crustacean can precede the words nebula and apple?
Crowd.
Correct. Steve Brookstein was the first winner of what TV talent show?
Trevor.
Pass.
X Factor. The gardener Capability Brown was born in what century?
Trevor.
18th.
Correct. Bikram's a form of what physical and spiritual practice?
Trevor.
Prayer.
Yoga. In boxing, cornermen who support the fighter are called what?
Trevor.
Seconds.
Correct. What city was the capital of the Kingdom of Bohemia?
Trevor.
Unique.
Prague. What's the main drug that makes cigarettes addictive?
Trevor.
Nicotine.
Correct. What percentage of the pop group ABBA was female?
Half.
50%. A kickstand is used to hold what vehicle upright?
Trevor.
Motorbike.
Correct. Carolingian Renaissance is named after which Holy Roman Emperor?
Pass.
Charlemagne. A suffix is usually attached to what part of a word?
Trevor.
The end.
Correct. What type of triangle has three angles of 60 degrees?
Isosceles.
It's equilateral. Lydia Ko is a leading player in what sport?
Badminton.
Golf. The Fosters sponsor the Comedy Awards at what fringe festival?
Trevor.
Edinburgh.
Correct. What type of winged insect is a purple hair streak?
Trevor.
Butterfly.
Correct. The word armada comes from what language?
Trevor.
Spanish.
Correct. How many different vowels does a modern trumpet have? Answer would have been 3. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, Marge. We were looking for percentage in that question.
I know, I
We were looking
realised.
for 50% rather than half, which of course is a fraction. Okay, 16, not bad. We'll need a couple of pushbacks, I imagine, but let's see how we get on. Time to bring back the chaser. Not bad.
Not bad. Very good performance by a pair of them.
Yep.
I expected.
Good. Now remember, if the chaser gets a question wrong, then the team get it right. They push him back one step. It's now time for the final chase. Chaser, your time starts now. The Canucks and the Jets play ice hockey in what country?
Canada.
Correct. What type of creature is a tangle web?
Spider.
Correct. What political party used to be based at Transport House?
Labour Party.
Correct. What metal was first isolated in 1807 from caustic potash?
Sodium.
Stop the clock, please, Rob. What metal was first isolated in 1807 from caustic potash?
Tin. I don't know. Platinum. Okay, with one.
Platinum is wrong.
Potassium.
Yeah, potassium. Yeah, caustic potash. There you are. Was potassium. 13 required to catch the team. Your time starts again. Now, in the Magnus song, our house is in the middle of our what?
Street.
Correct. Lausanne is the judicial centre of what country?
Switzerland.
Correct. A glissade is a gliding step in what style of dance?
Ballet.
Correct. Which Austrian composed the song cycle Winterreise?
Mozart.
Stop the clock, please, Rob. Which Austrian composed the song cycle Winterreise?
Street.
Strokes.
No idea.
Johann Sebastian Strokes.
Is wrong. Correct answer is Franz Schubert. 10 to catch, 1:22 remaining. Your time starts again. Now, who wrote the novel Hard Times?
Charles Dickens.
Correct. What's the tallest mountain in Africa?
Kilimanjaro.
Correct. What constellation is also known as the Corona Australis?
The Southern Crown.
Correct. In what BBC talent show do dancers compete in a swing-a-thon?
Gypsy Come Dancing.
Correct. What in London are the Cromwell and Royal Brompton?
The hospitals.
Correct. Memphis was the capital of what ancient civilization?
Egyptian.
Correct. Nettie is a major character in what Alice Walker novel?
The Colour Purple.
Correct. The House of Windsor came into being in what century?
20th century.
Correct. The blue Factor carrier bag is sold at what Swedish retailer?
IKEA.
Correct. Batu Khan was a 13th century leader of which people?
Mongol.
Correct. 2 opportunities to push back, none executed, caught with 37 seconds remaining. Nothing we can do about that. That's at least another 8 on the target. We needed like 23, 24 really. when they're on a roll, there's nothing we can do. Nonetheless, I hope that you've enjoyed your day here. I've thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. However, I have to take away the £6,000 and tell you that Marge and Trevor, you have been caught, and finally, for you, the chase is over. Well played.
Trevor, you're a quality player, especially in that kill. Margie played very, very well as well. But at the end of the day, Bradley, it's just another day at the office.
Just another day at the office, and he was motoring and takes out Marge and Trevor with 37 seconds remaining. Could you take money from a chaser? Well, then please come and have a go if you think you're clever enough. We will see you next time on The Chase. Goodbye.
Toyota, magic moment of the day.
It's Aitchison of New Zealand who's now in second place. Aitchison with a silver to add to her silver back in 2019. Smiles at her face.
Good evening. Our biggest city will stay in alert level 4 lockdown for a while longer as the number of COVID cases in the community dips for the first time since the current outbreak. Just revealed this afternoon, Auckland will remain on level 4 for at least another 2 weeks. A review will take place on September 13. Northland will likely go to alert level 3 at 11:59 on Thursday if wastewater tests come back negative. The rest of the country will move to level 3 from 11:59 p.m. tomorrow for a week, with a review on September the 6th. It comes as 53 new community cases of COVID-19 were reported today, all in Auckland. This takes the total to 562, the total number of cases in this outbreak, 547 in Auckland and 15 in Wellington. The vast majority are linked to the current big cluster. 37 cases are in hospital, 5 in intensive care but in stable condition. Our coverage begins tonight with political editor Jessica Much-Mackay.
If you needed a test, you'd be chuffed turning up to short queues like this in Auckland today. But it's a sign testing numbers are down, just 16,000. All week last week, it was more than double that. The Prime Minister says it's too soon to tell if this is the peak in case numbers.
I know that we're all willing for that trend to remain. But while it would be too premature to say we have a trend yet, what we can say is level 4 is making a difference.
Cue the Prime Minister holding up another graph. And modelling shows without lockdown, we'd be looking at 550 cases today.
The red line shows what would have happened if we hadn't moved hard and fast into level 4.
One drop doesn't mean a trend. I mean, what we can say is that we're on a plateau.
So lock in 2 more weeks of lockdown, Auckland.
Unsurprised. I guess we were kind of predicting it anyway.
That's what we've got to do.
I just want a cheeseburger or something that I have not cooked.
Kind of annoying.
Auckland is doing a huge service for all of us.
60 Defence Force staff who were working at MIQ facilities are now in lockdown at a naval base on Auckland's North Shore. COVID's shown up in the wastewater. Of the current outbreak, 101 cases are essential workers, but only a handful were working while infectious.
One of the things we're turning out our efforts to over this next 2 to 3 days is to have a really deep dive on each of those cases.
And if that deep dive shows things need to change, the government will tighten up on essential workers like a level 4 plus. It comes as plastic company Sistema has closed its Auckland factory until Wednesday after a worker tested positive. The company says only 10% of staff were working and they're considered essential because they supply supermarkets. One News has also heard from 2 workers at a trailer manufacturer in Hamilton. One of them says everyone in our country has been asked to stay home in their bubble unless they are essential. I feel guilty deceiving the team and possibly putting others at risk, as I know I am not essential to keep this country running. I have never in my time with this company seen any essential vehicles. A spokesperson says they provide essential services to the freight industry and says they're following the rules.
Whether you're talking 4.5, 4, whatever, the fact is it's all around the vaccination.
Today, for the first time, a woman in her 50s is thought to have died from a rare side effect of the Pfizer vaccine called myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle wall. Experts say the woman had other health conditions and say you're 18 times more likely to get myocarditis from COVID itself compared to the vaccine.
I do want to, of course, give my condolences to the family. They have been fabulous in supporting us to investigate this case and get this information out so that it can be useful for the wider public.
It's now hoped those case numbers will keep tracking down.
Yes, and Jess joins us now from Parliament. Tēnā koe, Jess. Some politicians returning tomorrow.
Yes, it'll be Parliament, but not as we know it. It'll be a handful of MPs that'll be coming to the debating chamber to have their say. So just a few of them, really. Labor are going to be using a couple of their MPs that are already here in Wellington. National is bringing in its leader, Judith Collins. She arrived today from Auckland, but because she's considered an essential worker, she is allowed. ACT will be using its leader, David Seymour. He's been in Wellington for the whole time. But the Greens and Māori Party are taking a different approach, saying they won't be coming here to Parliament under Level 4, saying that if everyone else is being told to stay home, they don't think it's right for politicians to come here. The reason there's been so much debate over this issue is because any gathering is risky, but on the other side, it's really important that you hold the government to account on these big questions. It's important that they get those questions out there and inform the public and to keep this very important mechanism of Parliament operating.
Thanks, Jess. Jessica Mackay at Parliament. All agencies helping those in need are reporting a huge increase in demand for food parcels this lockdown. They say the situation is more complex than in the past. Laura James has the story.
A loaf of bread, a bottle of milk, and plenty more loaded into car boots to fill empty pantries.
I think it's about 14, 15 items that include pumpkins and cucumbers, lettuce.
Hundreds today queuing at the South Auckland Gurdwara or temple, which has already distributed more than 4,000 food packs.
We find at least 3 times higher than what we done last year. So people are really desperate to taking the foods.
For many families, this is the hardest lockdown yet.
Every single phone call we've taken since we went into lockdown is not about our other essential services. It's all about people needing food and kind.
We've had a huge influx of families needing help this lockdown. Last lockdown, it's 45%, 50% families looking for help. This lockdown, it's 95% of our families are requiring a little bit extra support.
Charity Kids Can is seeking donations to send out 2,500 food parcels. 39 already sent to this teacher's preschool students.
They're saying, you have no idea how much we need these parcels right now. We're living on next to nothing.
Many usually rely on their children getting a meal or two at school, plus more affordable food is now harder to find on supermarket shelves.
Our clients are telling us that these are vulnerable people already living on the smell of an oily rag. They're going to the supermarkets. Most of the cheaper brands that they would traditionally buy have already been bought.
The shopping bill's more than double. We've got families that are trying to balance between providing buying power so that children can continue to learn and buying food.
It's feared many of those in need don't know where to look for help.
The systems I don't think are as good as they were or as readily available as they were at the lockdown.
He's also calling for food bank assistance to be better coordinated to ensure those who really need help get it.
And Laura joins us now. The government is chipping in more to help.
Yes, it originally put $2.8 million towards providing food and essential support, and it's since boosted that by $7 million, and that's estimated to help distribute another 60,000 food parcel. People who are in need are encouraged to contact MSD. If you're isolating and you need help accessing food because you can't go out and get it, you can contact Civil Defence. And we're also told that the New Zealand Food Network website is a good place to go if you're looking for a list of food hubs. For any Kiwis that want to provide a helping hand, there are a number of charities, like what you saw in my story, who are seeking donations.
From our Auckland newsroom, Laura James, thank you. So it is a bit of a waiting game for those people in Northland going down a level or riding on wastewater results are due on Thursday. Our Northland-based reporter Helen Council has been getting reaction and she joins us now live. Kia ora, what is the reaction up there, Helen?
Well, I think there's definitely relief in sight for Northlanders. Many will be pretty happy knowing that we too could go into level 3 just a day after the rest of the country. So we will be waiting with bated breath for those wastewater results to come back on Thursday. I think there was a real concern that Northland could be lumped in with Auckland, and for us to stay at level 4 for 2 weeks would be a hard pill to swallow, given that we have no COVID cases, there's nothing in our wastewater system, and also that the fact that up here in the far north, we're still a good 3 to 4 hours drive from that Warkworth border. Level 3 for Northland would mean that our 3 main exporting industries could get underway. That's forestry, dairy and horticulture. And I spoke to people in the forestry industry this morning who say that they've got logs that are just sitting there rotting away. So that means that they'll be able to get those away and overseas.
That's good news. Castles and Coopers Beach, Northland. Thanks. Well, the number of New Zealanders getting vaccinated just keeps hitting record levels. Let's take a look at the latest figures. And it's important to note that these are relative to the 4.5 million Kiwis aged 12 plus eligible for the jab. More than 1.16 million people are now fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the Pfizer jab. Just over 2.1 million have got their first jab. Now that leaves 1.7 million people represented by this white segment here yet to receive a vaccine. But with the Delta outbreak spiking demand, there are now concerns about supply and when it may run out. Kate Nicol-Williams has developments.
Getting vaccinated from the seat of your car with no booking. A popular option for many in Porirua.
You want to prevent us from this virus?
Not get through them.
Not scared, just a little bit nervous.
The Delta outbreak's motivation for many Kiwis to get protection. At this iwi-led drive-through, the majority of those turning up have been Māori and Pacifica.
It's been another busy day here in Porirua, and local health providers tell me they want to keep their momentum going. But the question for many around the country is now, how long can our vaccine supply keep up?
The rollout plan was for 350,000 doses per week. Last week, well over 500,000 jabs were administered, the peak on Thursday with more than 90,000 in a day. And from this Wednesday, everyone aged 12 and over is eligible.
We are keen to keep going now that people are really keen to be vaccinated, and it would be a real shame if we had to dial it back a little bit.
The government says it's working on a plan to bring more vaccine into the country.
If we are unable to do this, then the worst case scenario is that we pull back to our planned volumes, which, as I said, would still mean 350,000 doses being delivered a week.
The Prime Minister needs to be on the phone to Pfizer, talking to AstraZeneca, getting the MedSafe approved Janssen vaccine in the field now, and if they're not prepared, then they need to hurry up.
One immunisation expert says being unable to meet demand for vaccinations would be problematic.
We're there, we want to do it, we want to deliver. It would be a real shame to have to scale back when everybody's really ready to do it. We're very keen to protect New Zealand, so now's the time.
The Prime Minister says 840,000 doses are currently available, with more doses from Pfizer arriving weekly.
And for more, now across to Kate, who's outside a vaccination centre in Lower Hutt. Kate, what is the advice for the public from medical professionals on this?
Well, Dr. Nikki Turner, the director of the Immunisation Advisory Centre, has been telling me that patients have come to her with worries about this today, but she's been advising them, and her advice for the wider public is to not panic. She says we have a vaccine rollout in place and that more vaccines are entering our country every week. At the moment, we are hearing that lately we've had more than 300,000 Pfizer doses per week arriving. She says that there may be small delays if the government cannot increase our supply. However, this would only be for a few weeks for people, and she is advising them to stay the course and to get vaccinated. She also said that if you live in Auckland, you should take the opportunity to get vaccinated if there is a pop-up opportunity at a clinical venue if you do want this. But she also said that looking ahead to Wednesday, Wednesday, when Group 4 becomes eligible for the vaccine. That's everyone aged 12 and over. That she would like to see people supporting the online Book My Vaccine system, particularly now that those teething issues have been sorted out. She says that this will help with the vaccine rollout. Now, this afternoon, the Prime Minister was stressing that we are not running out of the vaccine, but we are trying to meet this higher demand, because obviously the government's goal is to get as many people vaccinated as possible. As for the so-called strategy to get more vaccines into the country, she did say that decisions would be need to made this week around that, and that's because she does want to give DHBs a heads up if any disruption is coming with this.
All right, thanks for the update from Wellington, Kate Nicoll-Williams. Some employers are underpaying their workers in level 4, and a major union says it's expecting to see that continue as lockdown rolls on in Auckland. One multinational company is paying staff 80% and another suggesting no pay at all for some staff. Kristen Hall reports.
The night lockdown was announced, former vape shop worker Nick Moss received a text from his boss saying staff wouldn't be getting paid.
Company shut down for the whole week. There'll be no incoming for the whole week. There will be no wages, I'm afraid.
I felt very, not valued, because it was very obvious that the only thing that was cared about was the money coming in.
The company is still trading online, and the owner told One News workers will now be paid, but Nick's not confident and has resigned.
Their answers changed almost every day since lockdown happened.
Businesses facing a loss over lockdown can apply for the government's wage subsidy on the condition that they try to pay their staff at least 80% of their usual rate.
But this employment lawyer says paying workers less than what's in their contract could see businesses end up in court.
Employers can't unilaterally reduce wages, so any employer paying less than the employee's full wages does run the risk of breaching their employment agreement.
Some international companies have slashed wages. OPSM is paying New Zealand staff 80% of their usual rate under level 4. In a leaked email, cleaning company OCS is seeking feedback on a proposal to completely cut pay for some workers.
At present, we propose not to pay you, standing you down for up to 2 weeks.
Profitable employers need to pay people the 100% of their wages. They can afford to. There's no excuse not to.
The union says it expects to see more workers lose out as the lockdown continues in the north.
Employers saying, look, this is unknown territory, and so we're not going to pay the full amount until we know what's happening next. That's just not a good enough reason.
It's going to be a reckless employer who just ignores their contractual obligations. If they do, they're potentially up for back pay, potential humiliation and distress.
Business owners and workers alike under pressure during lockdown. Kristen Hall, One News.
Health officials are in damage control mode, stressing again photo ID is not required to get a vaccination. It comes after a group of 16 Pacifica people were asked for their passports when they went for a jab in Tauranga. As Sam Kawa explains, it's a request that's been made at sites across the country.
The Bay of Plenty DHB was fronting up and apologising to the Pacifica community.
We deeply and sincerely apologise for what's happened over this issue. And we acknowledge that for many of our Pacifica community, this is a rewounding.
It comes after One News revealed some were asked to show their passports before being jabbed.
This was a group of 16 members of the Pacifica community, and because we didn't have NHI numbers, they were asked to bring identification with them so that we could set those up.
Just last month, the DHB released this COVID booklet depicting a virus with a moko being given the boot. It was swiftly destroyed and is being investigated. Meg Foon says this latest incident is damaging.
When you got one message coming from the Prime Minister on participation, inclusion, and treating people with kindness and fairly and give nothing to racism, and then on the other hand, the public servants are doing the opposite.
The Health Ministry's told One News photo ID is not required when getting vaccinated, and visas and citizenship are not a factor when getting the jab. It says all that's needed are people's names, date of birth and contact details, and it keeps all that information privately on its own secure database. But since this family's story aired last night, One News has been inundated with similar stories.
I was turned around and sent back home when I failed to produce ID.
I booked my 3 children in for theirs and was told that they needed photo ID.
I was also informed that I needed to bring some kind of photo ID. I was surprised that I wasn't asked to show my ID when I turned up.
One News has also been sent confirmation emails from vaccination centres saying photo ID is required.
Everybody in the program is very aware, and we'll be reminding them that no one is required to show identification or a passport or anything else.
Meanwhile, the DHB has met with Pacifica leaders and will work with them to ensure the same mistakes won't happen again. Sam Calloway, One News.
FI coming up next. On the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, Louisiana slammed by a monster storm.
Oh, that proof is coming. Holy.
Next, as 1 million people are plunged into darkness, we look at how New Orleans flood defenses are holding up to the onslaught. And the aftermath of a drone strike targeting a suicide bomber in Kabul as the deadline for an evacuation mission draws closer. And his name was Ed Asner, but you might know him best as his character, Lou Grant. The TV sitcom actor has died.
What happened here?
They're dealing with irritations in your bubble at 7, Louis.
Yes, Wendy, if you're discovering this lockdown that little things are starting to irritate you, stay tuned. We've got some ideas to help de-escalate things at home. Plus, how recreating an old family photo could earn you big bucks.
Join us tonight at 7. A house full of holes.
The screws popping out.
So what's gone wrong that was delayed?
I just want what I paid for, which was a nice new house.
Plus, a smashing good time. Tasting escape tours.
If this is expensive, are they all the same thing?
Find out on Fair Go tonight 7:30 on One.
This one's nice.
50 feet. What do you think? It's good.
Here in Tamahua, when times get tough, we pull together.
From lockdowns to vaccine clinics.
We're keeping COVID out. Our whānau make awesome decisions when we know the facts.
It's about looking after all of us.
I'm here to see you, that's saying, hold on, I'll go talk to you.
Empower your skin to fight 3 types of wrinkles in just 4 weeks with Nivea Q10. Packed with powerful Q10 to reduce wrinkles in 4 weeks or double your money back during Nivea Q10.
Pretty good mix. Only have 110,000 Ks. Lost and Red Joker. No full service history. Try and get in.
What is this?
This is a 1-star safety rated car.
I don't understand what's going on.
People don't often think about how a car will crash and how it will protect you. That's what a star safety rating tells you.
I can't imagine like if you're crashing a car like this, there's no way we would survive.
My wife was really surprised when I said I wanted to be a stay-at-home dad. I don't know. It all just came about after we moved into our brand new home. Fletcher living. New home so good, you won't want to leave.
Imagine Aotearoa without good water. That'd be rude as, eh? That's why we're working with councils to make sure it doesn't happen for real. So now, instead of them having to shoulder this burden, we're grouping it together to keep everybody on a path to better all-round water. So our trout will be happy, undies can still be tops, and best of all, us Kiwis can keep drinking straight from the tap. So how about that? Better water is better for everyone.
Dave switched to the Generate KiwiSaver scheme, whose focused growth fund was ranked first over the past 5 years.
Hold on. Quit the fancy words.
Just put these ones up.
Ah,
That's why I joined.
makes sense. Join Dave and generate together.
All new Celebrity Treasure Island starts September 6th on 2.
Kia ora Anna, welcome back. Flood levees are holding so far after a deadly hurricane made landfall in Louisiana 16 years to the day that Katrina devastated the US state. Fierce winds have destroyed buildings, and within the past few hours, reports are coming in of people trapped in their homes by flash flooding. Our US correspondent Anna Burns-Francis reports from America's South.
There's no mistaking, Hurricane Ida has arrived.
Oh, that proof is coming. Holy.
The powerful Category 4 storm making landfall just over 12 hours ago, packing winds of up to 240 kilometres an hour.
The wind is so intense that it nearly takes your breath away.
Gusts quickly knocking out power to hundreds of thousands of people across the state of Louisiana, including the entire city of New Orleans. The storm surge could prove life-threatening. About 40 residents in low-lying Grand Isle choosing to ride out the storm as the sea rushed in.
We've got devastated areas, roofs missing, whole camps torn down, and we're out of fresh water.
There is a tremendous amount of storm surge, a tremendous amount of wind, and this is tough conditions to survive.
Further north, New Orleans, a ghost town as Ida swept in.
Right behind me, the whipping winds of Hurricane Ida on Canal Street, the site of usually the Mardi Gras parade. You'd have dancers lining these streets, but now lined streets with boarded up buildings and floodgates. Not because they think the levees would hold, but because of the flash flood threat.
Billions of dollars have been spent improving the levee system that failed to protect the city 16 years ago during Hurricane Katrina. So far, the flooding here is restricted to areas outside the flood barriers.
This is a very dangerous and a very real situation. This is the time. Heed all warnings. Ensure that you shelter in place, you hunker down.
Search and rescue teams are standing by. The US president determined not to repeat mistakes of the past, declaring an emergency in Louisiana and Mississippi.
As soon as the storm passes, we're going to put the country's full might behind the rescue and recovery.
Hospitals in New Orleans were unable to be evacuated with no space at COVID-hit hospitals elsewhere in the state.
The elevator shafts are literally shaking as I'm going from unit to unit. I think that's all wind.
Hurricane hunters flew into the eye of the storm as it approached the US, the swirling tempest spanning 27 kilometres. As night fell, Ida continued its rampage across Louisiana. It's feared part of the state will be left uninhabited. The true extent of the damage won't be known until first light.
And US correspondent Anna Burns-Francis joins us
Yeah,
now
back
in
is it?
Georgia, where she is waiting out the storm. Anna, where is Hurricane Ida?
Oh, it's all gone. Okay. Oh, you're done. Bye-bye.
Look at what they do.
Oh,